Welcome to episode 54. I'm your host, Nikkei Lamodi, and I am so excited to talk about the topic of mindset and your thoughts about what you think about the circumstances in your life. Mindset is one of my most favorite things to talk about and coach my clients through. So I'm so excited to talk to you about it today in this episode and how it can help you make progress in areas that you have been feeling behind in for years. So let's jump right in. I did want to make sure that I updated you that I have the Late Bloomer Collective free broadcast channel over on Instagram. So if you are on IG, come and join us. I give you a prompt every single week to help you get clear on how to take action in an area of your life that you feel behind in. You can ask me questions. You can engage with other women who are also in the Late Bloomer Collective. And so if you're looking for not just accountability, but also community, Late Bloomer Collective is right for you. So come join us over on IG. I'll make sure that the link to my Instagram is in the show notes so you can easily access and find us. So in the last episode in 53, I challenged you to ask yourself, how does it feel being behind in an area of your life? I wanted you to really be honest and say, hey, how does it feel to be behind in an area of my finances or in my health or in my relationships? Now, psychology has already confirmed for us that our thoughts impact how we feel. So today I'm going to share the prompts that you should be asking yourself so that you can uncover the narratives that are going on in your mind that have kept you feeling like you're either failing at adulthood or you're running out of time or you're just not able to keep up with where your peers are. In episode 52, I shared that growing my belief was one of the 3 things that helped me finally break free from being behind in areas of my life that I felt behind in for decades. And so today I want to break down how you can begin growing your belief. Now, in that episode, I shared that you can navigate through reflecting on times in your life where you had to overcome something hard or you were able to achieve something you were really proud of and write down what helped you do that, what supported you, so that you can provide that evidence to your brain that, hey, I can do hard things. I can overcome hard things to achieve the things that are important to me. So the very first thing is you want to be able to uncover any limiting beliefs that you have. And I want to first define what a limiting belief is for those who maybe not be familiar with mindset work. But a limiting belief is just a negative thought that you have about yourself or about a circumstance that you hold as absolute truth, and it restricts the action that you take or it prevents you from being able to achieve your full potential in an area of your life. Now, that limiting belief can be stemmed from past experiences or trauma even, and it can hinder your personal growth. And so in the end, you want to uncover these limiting beliefs because they hold you back from doing something that you want to do. Once you uncover your limiting beliefs, you are then able to challenge them. That's what we're going to talk about today. And so when you're thinking about, okay, an area of your life you feel behind in, and you ask yourself, how do I feel about being behind in this area? The next question you want to ask yourself is, why does my brain believe I haven't achieved this? Or why does my brain believe I won't ever achieve this? So I'm going to use an example. Like for me, I felt behind professionally in the middle of last year. And for me, that being behind professionally was that I wasn't making 6 figures and I wasn't in this progressive growth role within the industry that I work. And it made me feel like I'm so behind professionally in comparison to my peers and what they're doing in their own respective jobs and careers. But when I dug deeper and I said, okay, what are the reasons why your brain believes you haven't achieved professional growth or you haven't been able to achieve this? Things that came up were I'm not smart enough. I changed industries. I took time to care for sick parents when other peers were focused on growing their careers and developing their skills. And I didn't create like an intentional plan on my career milestones or desires when I did pivot industries. I kind of just pivoted and then didn't think past, oh, what is this going to look like in 2 years, in 5 years, in 7 years? And so it helped me to see, oh, here are the reasons why my brain believes that I haven't achieved the progress in the area of my professional growth. And so once you have listed the reasons for yourself on an area that you feel behind in, that you haven't achieved it or that you won't achieve this, the next step is you want to challenge that limiting belief. right? Once you uncover what limiting belief is there, it's not the time to judge yourself, be harsh, be critical, beat yourself down. It's, oh, this is information that is going to be helpful, and I don't need to look at myself with judgment. Instead, I want to challenge this limiting belief. And I want to acknowledge that if it's a limiting belief that is rooted in trauma, make sure you're working with a licensed professional like a therapist, a psychologist, psychotherapist who can help support you navigating that limiting belief that is rooted in trauma. So I'm going to share with you today just 2 practical tips that you can do to challenge limiting beliefs once you've uncovered them. So the first one is an evidence bank. This essentially is what it sounds like. You are banking up evidence. So I'm going to give you an example. Back when I was caregiving for my mom back in 2021, I was really struggling with not feeling like I was a great daughter. I felt like I was failing her. I felt like I wasn't doing enough, and beating myself down, being hypercritical really kept me from being kind to myself. And because I wasn't being kind to myself, I always felt honestly like crap most of the time. But then my therapist had me write down the reasons why I'm a great daughter based on what I have already done. And she said, every time you go and you do something, you write it down and you add it to this list. And every time you believe I'm not doing enough, I'm an awful daughter, I want you to come back to this list and read it. And that's an evidence bank. So if I was using this for my thoughts that I had around my professional growth, then I would write down evidence for milestones I have had professionally and things that have happened to contribute to my professional development and my professional growth. And every time I did something new, like signed up for a course, listened to a new podcast on leadership or whatever, I would add that to this list or this evidence bank. And I would go back every time I thought, oh, I'm not smart enough, or it's too late for me to grow professionally. I would go back and look at this evidence bank. Another thing that you can do is asking yourself, what are the facts? Writing down what is true, right? Because this prompt initially asks you, hey, what are all the reasons your brain believes you haven't achieved progress in this area that you feel behind in? Or what are all the reasons your brain believes you won't ever achieve progress in this area? And so you want to challenge your brain. Okay, you're offering me that I'm not smart enough, but what else is true? And I want to share an example of where this really was powerful was when I had a lot of fears around being laid off. I work in tech, and so you all know that tech can be very volatile, and it immediately left me being hyper anxious and fearful that I'm going to get laid off and be homeless. And that's what my brain believed. And so I had to continually ask myself, what are the facts? What else is true? When I offered myself this question, it allowed for me to come up with all the things available to me, whether it was people or resources or skills that I could rely on and use if I were to be laid off. And it helped bring me more to a grounded state so I could think clearly about, okay, what should my next step be to make progress in this area of my life? So now that we've uncovered what our limiting beliefs are and we're challenging those limiting beliefs, the next step is going to be to rewrite the narrative. Now, I want to say for my high achievers, type A people, you're not uncovering this limiting belief and challenging it, and then in 1 week, it's gone. 2 weeks, it's gone. 6 months, it's gone. Depending on how long you've been carrying this narrative around, this may be something you have to actively challenge for a while. So be kind to yourself. Be patient to yourself. The goal is that you're now aware that the narrative is there. So instead of it just subconsciously playing on autopilot and you have no awareness of it. And so now to rewrite your narrative, the prompt that you want to ask yourself is, what are all the reasons why this is possible? Why is it possible for me to make progress in this area of my life that I feel behind in? What else is true, right? And I want to give an example of how powerful this is to ask yourself what else is true. It may seem like a cliche, kind of like, is this going to do anything? But this can do something, and it can lead to a powerful transformation and you taking action that gives you the major result that you want in an area of your life you feel behind in. Remember, I shared that I had a lot of fears being laid off from my tech job. This fear kept me literally in a state of panic for 5 months because I was never taking the time to actually uncover and challenge my limiting beliefs and rewrite the narrative by asking this, what else is true? But the moment that I did uncover the limiting beliefs I had, I challenged him and decided to ask myself what else is true, what else is possible, I went from feeling so disempowered about my fear around being laid off to having a new part-time job in 4 days. This was simply because I went from being stuck in fear and panic to feeling grounded and empowered and remembering, oh, I actually have a whole license as a healthcare provider that I can apply to be active in the state that I live in, and I can go and get a PRN job. For some reason, that never crossed my mind when I was in panic and fear at all. But the moment that I said, what else is true? What else is possible? Oh, I can work in healthcare. And I went, did the process of getting my license. That took a week. And applied for a job right after I got my approval and got 2 interviews. And within 4 days, I had this PRN job, and it's been very flexible. It's been so great. And now I know, okay, if I get laid off, I not only have my emergency savings, but I at least have something to bring in income until I find another full-time job. By allowing for yourself to uncover your limiting beliefs, challenge them, and rewrite the narrative, you'll be able to break free from being behind in any area of your life in months, not years, right? And I want to remind you that when I say break free from being behind, I'm saying you are making consistent 5% progress. I'm not saying you're going to go from one extreme all the way to the next. Depending on the circumstance and the area and what action you take, you possibly could. But breaking free from being behind is consistently taking action that gets you that 5% progress consistently, instead of staying stuck in neutral in the same place year after year after year. When you're able to call out what isn't true, you are then allowing for yourself to not get in your own way and to not self-sabotage. Uncovering those limiting beliefs, calling out what isn't true, and focusing and emphasizing what is true, what is possible, allows for you to take clearer, intentional, and consistent action. You are no longer your own obstacle, so you make progress a lot faster. Even if you're starting over or you don't have a lot of time, you will still make progress faster when you uncover limiting beliefs, you challenge them, and you rewrite your narrative. So I want you to try these 2 prompts after you finish answering what area you feel behind in, what do you want in that area, how does it feel to be behind in that area? Then you're going to jump into these 2 prompts. If you're ready to stop feeling behind, book a free consultation call via the link in the show notes to see how I can help you specifically make progress in months, not years, in one-on-one coaching. I provide several one-on-one options to fit your schedule and budget, and I can't wait to talk to you. I will catch you all in the next episode, and remember to be kind to yourself.